A few weeks ago, we made a video showing how platinum level junglers just miss kills all the time for a variety of reasons. At the end of the video, we said that if you don't believe us and think you aren't guilty of the same mistakes, to leave a comment with your name and region, so we could roast your gameplay and point out your mistakes. We got a ton of responses with everyone's names, so we definitely have plenty of ints to look at. In this video, we'll teach you exactly how to avoid the same mistakes that our subscribers are making, and we've got a range from silver to diamond 1, so there's definitely something for everyone here. If you think you're held back by bad teams and don't make the same mistakes, then feel free to leave your name and region so we can prove you wrong next time. Let's get right into it. We'll start with a silver subscriber and gradually work our way up the ranks, so make sure to stick around for some of the harder ones to see. Our first replay comes from Redditator, who is playing Echo into Master Yi. We often like to give context in our clips so you guys can follow along. Basically, blue team wants to contest the dragon, and Echo does go on to steal it and get out with his life. But I do have a lot of gripes with this play overall, so let's just get to addressing them. Split-second decision making is often one of the hardest things to do in this game, and we get that. But we have to learn how to improve, and it starts with understanding what your different plays are in a situation so you can pick the best one. From here, we're essentially picking between two: take the fight or try to steal the dragon. Now, let's just put both of these things on a scale and weigh out the pros of each. Dragon gives us a really mediocre buff, a whopping 25 gold, and about a camp's worth of experience. We'll throw in the fourth of a dragon soul, but that doesn't even have value until later on. The fight, however, will give us a lot more than that in almost all cases. But how do you know we'll even win the fight, you ask? Well, let me explain. Just because there are 4 people from both teams down here, it doesn't mean that they're actively in the fight. I mean, we can clearly see Master Yi is just smacking the dragon here and has no intention of joining his teammates. Additionally, we can see that Lucian is already rotating, and we haven't seen the enemy mid laner show on SkillCapped yet, so they're at least behind this line. And now we know that Lucian will always get here first before the enemy mid. Well, that makes this fight a 4v2. Yasuo has Heartsease Seed and is almost dead already. We all know Yuumi is a useless poo-poo champ alone, so I think it's clear to see that we could just kill both of them here. However, our subscriber tunnels straight on the dragon instead of getting 2 kills, and if we think about what these kills actually give us, then we're pretty sad about that. We would get 600 gold from the 2 kills, deny 300 gold for saving our Swain's life, and deny 3 waves that overall are worth around 300 gold. Overall, that's a 1200 gold swing that could have happened, and that's not even accounting for the bonus of getting tempo, kill experience, map control, and the ability to push waves and hit plates for even more gold, so this is a pretty conservative estimate. If we compare the two and asked you which you would rather have, you should definitely say the right. Not only does drag not help you snowball the game at all, you have to realize that this is super early game, and 1200 gold is a mind-boggling amount of early power that for sure wins you the game. Just don't try and steal dragons, guys. Unless it's the 3rd or 4th, or you have no way of ever winning the fight instead, it's just never worth it. Dragon is a really overrated objective, and we can't stress that enough. I'm sure plenty of you have already heard my ranting about it before, but this clip is a perfect example of how hard players get baited by it. Alright, let's jump up to Plat Elo now and find some more early mistakes. This replay comes from Mr. Majestics, who is playing Warwick into Lee Sin. So, he decides to start his blue, then does his Gromp. Nothing out of the ordinary, and he finishes up his initial clear by doing red buff and then walking into top river. So, what's wrong with this, you ask? Well, let's talk about it. If you've watched some of our other videos, you'll know that I really don't like blue Gromp red pathings in general because of the lack of camps that are cycled. It's just high risk if your plays don't work out. But that's not actually my problem with this game at all. When Warwick decides to skip his wolves around this time, top lane has been fighting a lot, and this is usually a pretty good reason to rush to a lane. In this case, blue Gromp red does make a lot of sense to be able to get to top as soon as possible. My big gripe comes from the decision to even go towards top in the first place. Is this a lane that usually will fight to the death at level 1? Definitely not, and Malphite's going to do his job regardless of if he's 0-3, so it's not particularly important to shut him down. Your Zyra versus Nautilus lane is much more volatile. Ranged poke supports in general will probably have priority because they're pushing. They die really quick and are easy to gank. So being in the area, kind of important, especially if they're blowing summoners and poking under tower like this. Okay, so regardless of that initial mistake, our subscriber did make the correct play to skip his wolves in this case and go towards top. But he messed up by going in river. This one might not be obvious, but hopefully we can make it obvious. The decision to skip wolves was hopefully a conscious and informed one, where Warwick took information from the map and decided to do something because of it. The second decision to go in river seemed extremely automatic. Let's look at what we know at the time of this decision. Gwen just finished solo killing Malphite. He used flash, and Gwen is basing. Malphite TP's back in, and now we find ourselves just finishing red buff as Warwick. So with this information, does it really make sense to go into river now? We know a few things. 1, our Malzahar is getting pushed in, meaning Jace has prio. 2, Malphite is teleporting back while Gwen is going to base. We don't actually know if Gwen will TP back or if she wants to hold it yet, so for now, we have to assume that she won't. 3, it's 2:39, meaning there is a lot of time before crabs spawn. So if we're going into river, that really only leaves us with a few plays. 1, we can invade the Lee Sin, but with no prio, that really doesn't make much sense. 2, we can try and look for a gank top, but Malphite has a frozen wave that we can't gank on. And 3, we could look on Jace, but he's full HP, and Malzahar has 0 setup, and no ignite. So there's probably 0 kill threat if we even manage to get on him, which we probably won't. Because of this, we can't really do anything, and that's my main problem with this play. Does it end up working out? Sure, Gwen does end up teleporting back, but does so 15 seconds after we already decided to go into river. So it's not something that we played around. Does Malphite end up walking up and trading for absolutely no reason just to make himself diveable? Yes, but we had no idea that this was going to happen either. There's a very big difference between lucking out with a play like this and having the intent to make it happen consistently. We will give credit where credit is due and say that finding this dive in the first place is really good, and most people probably would have missed it, but it was super lucky. Without this play, Warwick would have just sat around and wasted over 30 seconds of time. Like we've all heard before, the ends don't justify the means, and this is definitely the definition of an inconsistent play. Warwick plays like this a lot in this game, going for very high risk plays like this dive top again, but he runs through all of his camps to do it. After all this is over, Lee Sin is up an absolute ton on Warwick. You have to try and find a balance between pressure and farming, lest you waste time and fall behind. So I'm very happy that you are looking for these kinds of plays, but now you need to think about the counterplay that you're leaving for the enemy when you go for them, and also think about what kind of matchup you're investing all of your time into. Now let's get into our diamond game. This time with Conavi Jr., who at the time of this video has since gone up in rank from his original comment to Diamond 2. Congrats! So Diana does get pretty fed in the early game. She cleans up 2 kills bot lane and grabs a bunch of CS and XP for herself. From here, she clears up and even manages to gank mid, securing another kill and shove in the wave to get her mid laner a nice base timing. So all of this is really well played, and it even gives her some more downtime to clear her top side as well. But you should notice something right now. There's a lot of stuff that's happened in the past section, and we've glossed over it, but 2 minutes of just full action have passed, and Diana is now sitting on 1700 gold. Here's where our main issue lies. Even with all of this gold, and no information on the enemy jungler, she starts going towards top lane to look for a gank. Yes, we blow the Shen's flash, but Echo is right on his heels, and Diana is literally pixels away from dying to Echo's EQ combo. This could have turned out really differently. I've got another huge problem with this play aside from just the gold. Before Diana even moved, we know that Vlad is getting pushed in, and Viego has a roam opportunity right here. If we're going to make a play, it needs to be in the time it takes for Viego to get from mid to just about halfway up the river, so he can't just clean it up when we overcommit. This slight turn that Diana does here tells me that this was not considered at all. If Diana truly was playing around the fact that she could maybe make a quick play and finish this up before Viego moved, that's one thing, but this slight turn shows the intent behind her play, and ultimately spells disaster as Ornn is baited into taking the fight longer than he should have. There could have been a slurry of back pings from Diana, and I would say this play is more okay, even if Ornn dies, but the intent is what I'm looking at here, not the results. A very similar mistake is made again right after, as the ability for the enemy to move to this blue buff is disregarded, and she gets caught on low HP, causing an even more catastrophic fight to happen. I think the main takeaway from this is to play as if the enemy can always move to your play, and consider your recall timings a bit more. It would be much better to just ignore the tank matchup top lane in favor of buying huge power spikes and getting back to your bot lane or mid matchups that matter way more. The second fight further shows the lack of consideration for your tempo here, as you really shouldn't be trying to go for this blue and instead just recalling for a bunch of the same reasons we just talked about. Alright, that'll do it for our clips today. We hope this helped everyone, but especially the players that we featured today, and thanks to them for being okay with being featured. If you want to have your gameplay picked apart just like this, leave a comment below with your name and region. Just don't be too upset if we roast you a bit. You signed up for it. Remember, if you want to improve fast and get the rank you've always wanted, then check out SkillCapped.com, link in the description below. Otherwise, you know the deal. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to get more premium guides with one goal in mind: helping you become a better player. We here at SkillCapped want to thank you for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.